Welcome to the first webinar of 2015 in our supply chain management webinar series. A couple housekeeping things before we get underway here. If you have a question during the webinar, on your control panel, just click the raise your hand, or you can type me a question and send it to me privately. I will try to answer these questions as they come up. If not, I will then stay on the line after the webinar is over, and we will take any questions as long as you're on the line. So, without further ado, let's get going. And today we're going to be talking about the relationship of safety stock to service levels. What we're going to cover today is ways of measuring forecast accuracy. We're going to look at just two of them, mean and standard deviation. Then we're going to look at how you convert a management objective to a service level. And finally, when you have your deviation calculation and you have the service level, we're going to look at how you take those two bits of information and one other thing and convert them into a safety stock quantity to cover the service level that you're trying to attain. So, variation happens in all different kinds of areas. This photo of a family reunion, if you took these people and had them sort themselves from the shortest to the tallest, disregarding the infant in the stroller, what you would find is that most of the people congregate in the center of this bell curve. And the center of that bell curve for this group will most likely be around 5'6", 5'7", because there is a combination of ages, cultures, sexes, men and women. You would find most of them 5'6", 5'7". Some of the people would fall to the left-hand side, right around 5 foot. Some others would fall to the right-hand side, somewhere around 6'1", 6'2", or something like that. We deal with this kind of stuff all the time. We get forecasts from our sales department. Those forecasts, in this case here, we've got 10 months worth of forecast, and sales is forecasting 1,000 units per month. Then we have the actual demand. And as you can see, it varies all over the place. Only one of the 10 months did sales actually forecast what we sold that month, and that would be in September. The ways of measuring this forecast accuracy, and as I said before, there are many ways to measure forecast accuracy. We're going to look at just two of them here: mean absolute deviation and standard deviation. Now, in prior webinars, we've looked at standard deviation, how you calculate it and everything. If you would like more information about how you calculate standard deviation, how you calculate mean absolute deviation, Tony Arnold's book, Introduction to Supply Chain Management, is a good source of information for that. But the basic characteristics of these two fall into how accurate they are. Standard deviation is more complex and it is more accurate. Mean absolute deviation is easier to calculate but isn't quite as accurate. The chart that you have here is the mean absolute deviation and the standard deviation calculated based on that forecast information we looked at in the previous slide. So, which you use, it's really up to you to decide how accurate do you need the information to be that you're calculating your safety stock on. For the sake of the rest of this presentation, we'll be using standard deviation. So, at this point, now we've covered mean versus standard deviation. Now we're going to look at how you take a management objective and convert that into numerical service level. And for this, I'm going to put you to work. I'm going to give you a poll here. On your screen, you can select one or all of these. Answer the question, which of these are management objectives? No more than 2 missed shipments per month, all line items shipped complete, 30 days without missing a shipment, no stockouts in the second quarter. What I would like you to do over the next 45 seconds is choose every one of these that you think is a management objective. So, everybody's jumping in real quick here. So, make your choices, and then we'll come and see what everyone has to say. Okay, we've got 1 or 2 people left that haven't made their choices yet. I'm going to be closing the poll in about 10 seconds, so make your choices. Going once, going twice. Poll is closing. All right, let's take a look at your responses. Bear with me 1 second. We seem to be having a technical issue here. Well, since technology sometimes works and sometimes doesn't, we're now into one of those areas where it won't show the poll result. So I'll read them off to you. 75% of you picked no stockouts in the second quarter. 58% picked 30 days without missing a shipment. 58% picked all line items shipped complete, and 42% picked no more than 2 shipments per month missed. Actually, every one of those is a management customer service level. Basically, what management was saying was, here is the amount of stuff you're allowed to miss. So we're going to work with the top one. What is the service level when management says you're allowed to have 2 missed shipments per month? Now, the way that management gets here is usually they pick a number out of thin air. In this example here, you were most likely having a meeting with your VP of supply chain, and the VP of supply chain was saying how we have to improve our customer service and we have to improve our on-time delivery. In this case here, he said, all right, in any given month, you can miss 2 shipments. Miss meaning you don't ship them on time. So given that information, then we need to convert that into a customer service level. To do that, it's a 2-step process. First thing you need to know is, how many shipments do you make a month? In this example here, we're going to assume that on an average month, we ship 40 shipments. From that, we need to subtract the number of shipments we're allowed to be delinquent on. So management has said we're allowed to be delinquent on 2 shipments. What that gives us is the number of on-time shipments that we need to make every month. In this case, it's 38 shipments. That's step 1. Step 2, then we take the on-time shipments, that 38 that we have to get out on time every month, divide it by the total number of shipments we're going to ship in any given month, and this one is 40 shipments, and that gives us a service level of 95%. Think back to those types of customer service levels that management gave you, all items shipped on time, 30 days without missing a shipment. You would use an approach similar to this to calculate the service level that you needed to achieve. So we've looked at mean versus standard deviation as a method for measuring the accuracy of our forecast. We've looked at a simple process for converting a management objective into a customer service level. Now let's move on to the relationship of safety stock, excuse me, and that service level. To convert the measurement of forecast accuracy, in our case, the standard deviation, and the service level that management wants us to achieve, 95% of the shipments go out on time, we need to use a table of safety factors. This table can be found in most statistics books. It will also show up in Tony Arnold's Introduction to Materials Management book. Basically what it is, define your service level as a percentage, look up the safety factor multiplier that you need to use, and then from that point, multiply that safety factor, in our case here, times the standard deviation of 211. And what that will give you then is the amount of safety stock, 346 units, that you have to have in order that 95% of the time you'll be able to make your shipments on time every month. If we look at that on the bell-shaped curve, our average shipment is 1,000 units per month. Our 95% service level requires us to have 346 units worth of safety stock. And with that, we can pretty much statistically guarantee that any given month we're going to be able to ship 38 out of those 40 shipments on time and complete. However, management always then jumps back in and they say, you've got too much safety stock. Even though you can show them statistically that this is the amount of safety stock that you need in order to meet that service level, they say it's still too much safety stock. So, next question, I'm going to put you back to work again, is which of these options is not a way to reduce safety stock? You got 3 of them there. Take about 30 seconds and make your selection. Which of these is not a way to reduce safety stock? And you only get to pick one here. Okay, you got about 10 seconds to go, and we got a couple more people that need to make their selection. Going once, going twice, and we're closed. Of the 3 ways there, improve forecast accuracy, reduce service level, or shorten replenishment lead time, can't tell who chose what, but reducing the service level, although that will reduce the amount of safety stock you have, it's not a long-term permanent solution, because when you reduce the service level, you're also reducing how well you can service your customers' needs. And long-term, that's not a viable option. The 2 ways that you can reduce the amount of safety stock that you have to carry is to improve your forecast. If our forecast is getting more and more inaccurate, what we need to do is go back to our customer service and salespeople and get them to look at the tools that they're using to do the forecast. Possibly the forecasting tool was based on stable demand with normal variation, and now we've got demand that is trending up or trending down. So they need to change their tools. So reducing the error of the forecast would reduce the standard deviation or the mean absolute deviation, and it would also reduce the amount of safety stock that you carry. The other option, shortening the lead time, this, if you think about it, if it takes us 8 weeks to replenish this inventory from the time we place the order until the time it comes in, we have 8 weeks of exposure to demand exceeding our supply during that period of time. So we have to carry a larger safety stock. We have to carry a larger inventory, which is driving a larger safety stock. If we can reduce that replenishment lead time down to 2 days, now we can order in short and smaller quantities more frequently. In doing that, we will reduce our inventory, our average inventory, and by reducing our average inventory and reducing the order cycle time, we reduce the amount of safety stock we have to cover us for demand increasing during that replenishment lead time. So let's wrap this up. We've covered 2 ways of measuring forecast accuracy, mean and standard deviation. We looked at how to convert a management objective, in this case 2 missed shipments per month, into a customer service level. And finally, we took that customer service level, the standard deviation, and a table of safety factors to calculate the amount of safety stock we would need to maintain the service level that management gave us. And from there, we looked at, wrapping it up, a couple ways to reduce the amount of safety stock by either improving forecast accuracy and or reducing the amount of time it takes to replenish your inventory. So that's it for this month.